And we're live with a Live Master TV showcase with Dr. Reyna Garcia, our special guest tonight. We're so super excited to have her. She recently completed the Live Master 7-day video interview challenge. And like I say all the time, here's the interview where we get an opportunity to learn more about Dr. Reyna and how from her early age she knew that she wanted to help people, inspire them, teach them, and lead them. She has a cool story that I really don't know the whole entire story, so we're going to learn together from her. She's in the beautiful state of California. She's awesome. I love her energy. I watched some of her videos over the last week, getting to know her, but now we get to learn more from her. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Reyna. Introduce yourself so people can get to know you a little bit, and we'll just kind of get into what got you started on this amazing journey to help people.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Dr. Reyna. Thank you to all Live Masters that are watching. So I started this program called Ignite, and I participated in several challenges, and that's where I met Mike, who challenged me to participate in this live recording challenge. And I hesitated for a while, and he was persistent. It's like, come on, Reyna, you can do it. You can record a video every single day. I was recording my videos every weekend for my program, but this is something totally different, like coming into the camera and recording something live for everybody to see, like kind of like an improv, right? Because when you record, you can edit, cancel, move the but then this was like raw. And so I said, okay, let's do it. So then once I started, it was really good because all the questions that you asked, like from day one, are kind of like growing, helping you to self-reflect on what you are as a person. And so one of the things that you brought up is that came up abroad in me as part of the questions was, how did I know that I wanted to help people from a very young age? And a story came to mind which I later on was able to use in my bio, is that when I was little, my dad was constantly being called to the office. Hey, your daughter is talking, your daughter is too talkative. You know, if it was, and nowadays they would have probably given me a pill to keep me quiet, you know, it's too active, too hyperactive. Very smart, but super hyperactive, and I love to talk. But I was not talking out of just nonsense. You know, my friends needed help. I would like finish my work and I would help them with their stuff. And so then in one occasion, the teacher told me, is like, Reyna, you need to sit down over here and don't move your butt from this chair. And so I did, you know, she moved me away from everybody. And so then my friend at the other end of the room needed help. And so I picked up my chair next to my butt, and I moved with my chair, and I sat down next to my friend and helped her. And then the teacher got upset, and she's like, I told you not to move your butt. And says, I did not move my butt. My butt is stuck to the chair. And so that's when I realized, you know, thinking of that story, that I did not care, you know, about the rules. But if the rules are saying, you know, do not help, this is the rule right here. Bend the rule in a way that you're not breaking the rule, but you're still helping your friend, kind of like in that way. And so my dad was called to the, of course, you know, he got upset because at one point they tied me to the chair so that I wouldn't move.
They literally tied you to the chair?
They tied me to the chair with Scotch tape and put tape on my mouth. This happened in Irvine, California.
If they did that today, they would be on the front page of the news.
Yes, yes. And so my dad went really upset, you know, big Mexican dad, you know, he was working at the time at a refinery. So he came like really dusty and looked really scary, you know. But he came to the school. It's like, why are you know, if my daughter has something to say, it's because if she's talking, it's because she has something to say. And so, you know, but that's, you know, my dad will always like defend us no matter what. So, you know, that's what dads do, right? So
yeah, exactly.
so
did you grow up in Southern California then?
For a period of time. Then for other time, I was in Mexico, and then other times I was here. And so then the same, when I went to Mexico for middle school, parts of elementary and middle school, and then came back for high school. So then that's when I came back and just stayed here for after that. My parents were divorced, so then I was back and forth.
Who were your first mentors? Because one of the questions that was in the video challenge, and you answered this question, is what was a lesson or something that you learned from a mentor or a teacher that you think other people deserve to know about and you want to teach people? Maybe you can answer that question and talk about some of the earliest mentors that you've had in your life, because I'm sure you've had several.
Plenty. I think that in your life, you have those mentors that are given to you in the form of teachers, family members, seniors, grandparents. So mentors, you're given with many mentors in your life. And so the ones that are given to you are the ones I think that you learn the most, because they're right there to serve a purpose. Like when it's your parents, when it's your grandparents, when it's your teachers, they're right there to challenge you. And you can't like say, you know what, I don't want to do it. They're just there and you just learn. There are other mentors that you choose. You seek them out. Like I see, you know what, Mike, I want to be like Mike. And so then I'm going to stay, like close to Mike, and I'm going to learn everything, and I'm going to because you've already worked for like almost 1,000 days, right? And so there's like, right, in video making. So if I want to be like you and with such professionalism, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to allow you to teach me so that I don't spend all that time, but I do it faster. And so with that, when I got a job in the school district, and I wanted the CFO position, the CBO position, Chief Business Official. And so then I started the position and I lower ranked, and I told my boss, I want your job, and he's like, okay. So I told him, it's like, I want the position that you have. I want to be like you. So from day one, I started to get mentorship from him, and I seek this mentorship. So I was doing my job, and I was allowing him to teach me everything that I needed to learn so that I could learn to be, like him, which I did. My other mentorship when I was doing my doctorate is a mentor that was given to me by the university. At times, I thought that she didn't even like me as a person. She was given to me. She was just there to do a job, but she got me through, and I didn't care that it seemed like she didn't like me. Maybe she did like me and just pushed me, but it didn't seem like it, and so then that's where I learned, like, from mentors. And I would tell everybody is it doesn't matter what, if the mentor is given to you, if you seek out the mentor, if you are learning or if they have something to teach you, just do it. Take action on what they're telling you to do. So if it's a mentor, if it's at work and it's somebody that you admire and you want to be like them, then go seek out advice, and whatever they tell you to do, you do it. The same with my mentor for my doctorate. I finished my doctorate in 2.5 years. Most people finish their doctorate in 7 years, so they never finish it. So
wow.
So that's
so that meant that specific mentor, that was the one that you said you didn't think liked you?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so listen, that mentor really was the best mentor that you could possibly ever have, because my mentor told me that it's a tricky relationship to have with someone that's you're mentoring. You don't want to be too friendly necessarily, because then you don't necessarily listen to your friends, right? You lose that, that right? So there has to be that. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head about being coachable, following instructions, and and obviously this mentor was somebody that was very successful in helping you get this doctorate. So what was the doctorate that you got? What did you go to school for? What was it that you got the degree in?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to when I was little. When I was little, I wanted to be a doctor, medical doctor. Okay. Hi, Scarlett. And so then I wanted to be a medical doctor. Life happened. I got married and I was a freshman in college. And so then I ended up becoming an accountant. And so then when I was an accountant, that took on to a business administration in first a bachelor's in business administration and then a master's in accountancy. So then when I was finishing my master's in accountancy, I asked about the possibility of getting a doctorate. And they said, no, the only thing that you can do is you can be a CPA. And I'm like, that's not, like, nobody's going to call me CPA Garcia, CPA Reyna, nothing, right? So it's like, I'm not going to do that. So time passed. And when I started working at the school district, they offered me the opportunity to do a doctorate in leadership and education, which is, I was already a leader. And so then leadership and education, which is what I was already working. And so that's where I got my doctorate. It's in educational leadership. So then it's like leading educators and leading education and transformational change. So it's like an extent doctorate. So it was really intense. I thought I was going to die every single day of the course. I thought I was not going to complete it because it was so intense and so there's so much writing, yes. So you say one thing and you have to expand like in 10 different pages, the same thing, right? So it's just that redundancy of saying things over and over again, coming from an accountant where 1 + 1 is 2 and it's proven and you don't need to say no more, right? Coming to do a doctorate in educational leadership where you have to explain the why and how do you, not only how do you do it, but why and all of those things and do the research and back it up. So, but that's my doctorate. It's in educational leadership.
That's awesome. So what are you doing now to apply all of that? I mean, you had mentioned to me offline that you're still working in the education space and you're still doing, is that what you're still doing, or is what's going on in the world kind of make you had to pivot a little bit? Like, so where are you right now with all of that?
So I stopped working for the school district in December prior to the pandemic. I finished my doctorate in March of this year. And so then the pandemic happened. And when the pandemic first happened, I started to see a lot, because I'm still involved with the community of educators. And I started to see a lot of frustration from the teaching community. I started to see that they were not as passionate, they were not as motivated, but the contrary, they were like really depressed. The comments were like, if one student shows up, that's a victory. They don't want to show their faces. And so I started to see a lot of loss of passion in the teaching community. And so that's when I came up with a program. It's called Ignite. And the purpose of Ignite is to ignite the passion in our teachers and all of our educators. Because when a teacher is passionate about teaching, the students want to be with that teacher. The students want to learn. And so why the students don't want to come to a Zoom lesson? Why the students don't want to come and don't want to show up to a class? Because the teacher is not passionate. And then so just take this example with you right now, right? You're right here, you're passionate. We're like anticipating, it's like, when are we listening to Mike? He's doing an interview. So we're right here because we can feel the passion. If you were not passionate, your students, your audience would not be here, focusing, listening, following, and waiting for another thing that you're saying. It's the same thing with the teacher. If the teacher is not engaging, then it's not going to be able to engage the students. So the purpose of Ignite is to take this program to every single teacher in the United States to start, so that each teacher regain their passion. They started teaching because teaching is a passion career.
Oh no, did we lose you? Oh no, don't tell me we lost you. So she was just getting to a really good part. Hopefully, I'm not frozen. Hopefully, she'll come back. Definitely passion. She was talking about passion.
You
And
do
that's
not
what
choose teaching because you want to be rich. You do not teaching because the Okay, there you are.
Yeah, I'm back. You're back. Yeah.
Good for you.
You were just talking about see, you were talking about passion and it just you almost broke the internet.
Yes, yes, definitely. Too much passion, too much energy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's I think the feeling that I get when somebody tells me that I've done something to help them, like there's someone on my team tonight that's going to be recognized, and she's thanking me for saying I had a big part in that. And to me, that's what it's about. And like, for teachers, that must be the feeling when they know that they've helped a kid, right? And as a teenager, as a young teen, it was really hard for me. And so there was not very many teachers. I didn't have teachers or anybody around me. I had no mentors or anybody. And like you said, they come in all shapes, sizes, and different forms. And it was my great grandma back then. But yeah, passion is what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's what I saw the loss of, in my career when I was working for the school district, my job was to build schools, right? To pay the electricity bills, have notebooks, have clean classrooms so that the kids come in. So part of my whole department is to support the teaching employees, to support the teachers, to make sure that there's light, adequate light, sitting. So then to me, when this pandemic happened and I saw this immediately, like the administrator that I am, is like, we need adequate teaching environment and we don't have that. Yes, we provided a computer and internet. Everybody was getting a computer and he was getting a hotspot so they can have internet in that computer. But that was not sufficient. And so that's when I said, okay, what can we do? Or what can I do? And when you have a calling and when you have a passion, you feel it. You feel it in your heart. And I asked God and I told him, this is way too much. Like I am not a teacher. It's going to be like hard for me to present this information that you're giving me. I'm just going to give it away, And so then I started to reach out to all the different teachers and principals and retired administrators that I know. And I share what I'm sharing with you, the ignite the passion and all of that. They said, wow, that's wonderful. And that's it. But this burning desire, like Napoleon Hill says in his books, is like this burning desire is like, it did not let me stay, just leave it. I couldn't shake it off and say, well, I already told them if they don't do anything, that's on them, right? I'm not an administrator. No, this burning desire was continued to be there. And so then I was speaking with my coach and he's like, well, if God gave it to you, I'm telling him, hey, I'm not qualified to do this. And then I went to a seminar. And then in the seminar, one of the presenters said, God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the call. And I'm like, it's like, I was hoping that someone was going to take this burden from me and was going to do it. And so then at that point, I talked to my coach and says, okay, let's get started, So I made the program, I made the course because I did not know how I was going to present it. So we made it into an online course. I presented it to all the superintendents. It has not been received as a necessity. So then we said, you know what, we're going to make it free to every single teacher in the United States. And so we made it free. And I've been presenting this Ignite program every Saturday, 9:00 Pacific Standard Time, every Saturday. Whatever teacher shows up, whoever is inspired. If one teacher is inspired and that teacher inspires 30 kids, I'm doing my job as the calling that I receive. And so
awesome. So how long have you been doing these Saturday calls for teachers?
Since the last week of August. Week of August.
So if we know any teachers, definitely invite them to come and check it out, right?
Yes. And it's Ignite Teachers Toolbox, and it's in drreyna.com. Okay. So my whole I have a website, and in my website I have different things because I'm multi-passionate. So I have books. I have written 3 books. I have a tie business that I make power ties and I sell them. I have a planner like
tell us about the power ties.
Okay, the power tie. So the power tie came from a necessity for me because I was going into all these meetings where it's a board of directors meetings where it's a very high, all important people are there. I remember I told you I wanted my boss's job. Well, I got the job, and then I'm going into this board of directors meeting. All successful men, they show up, they wear their ties, stuff like that. And yes, I have a suit. I'm well combed and dressed and everything, looking professional. But I feel it's like, where's my tie? You know? But being the extra person that I am, I'm like, I'm not wearing a man's tie. It's like, why am I gonna wear a man's tie? I'm not wearing a man's suit. This is a women's suit. So I came up with my power tie. And so then I put on my power tie and it's like, okay, now I am equal to you, and the statistics show that women do make less money than most men in the same field, in the same industry. That's just the statistics plain, whether people agreed or not. And so I said, okay, at least in this field, we are equal. We all have our suits, we all have our ties. And so then when I decided to promote them, I promote them as an empowering tie. Like Jim Carrey says in The Mask, is like, no, this is not just a tie. This is a power tie. And so when you wear it, it gives you that extra, it's like if it's gonna help you to, because posture and your body position also has a lot to do with how you feel. And so if you're in a meeting and you go like this, and if the tie is gonna give you that hump to make you stand up a little bit straight, that's what the power tie does.
Yeah, look, see, you're just talking about it right
Yes.
now. I'm starting to sit up higher in my chair.
Yes.
Right? You're bringing awareness to me,
Yeah.
like subconsciously. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I better sit up, slouching
Yes,
here.
exactly. And so then
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so then that's the if I'm able to give you something tangible that is going to help what you have inside shine, then so be it. I am going to do it. And so that's why I did the ties. And the people that a lot of people have reached out to me from Facebook, that they see the tie and they said, oh, I won one, I won this and I won that. Or I go into meetings and other women see it and other men for that matter. Last Christmas, I went to Macy's and I had a tie that had the red dots. And this guy loved it. He's like, I love your tie. So I took it off and I gave it to him, because he was the same. He's like, I don't want to wear man ties. I don't feel comfortable with a man tie. It restricts my neck. And so if it's gonna help someone like stand up straight, feel better about themselves, because just by you standing straight, you feel better. So that's part of like the power tie. And then of course it comes with a matching mask now that we are in the pandemic.
Yeah, I know the first video that you did in Live Masters during your challenge, you had your mask on for a couple of seconds and then you did it. So yeah, that's it was really cool to have you come in and do the challenge and talk about this. Now, actually one of the questions that I did ask in the challenge is, what are you doing right now to bring awareness to this, to your passion, to this Ignite program to help teachers? What are you doing to bring awareness to it right now?
So what I'm doing right now is I'm presenting my program for free. That's one. I am constantly reaching out to superintendents. I'm attending. I'm crashing in every single board meeting that I am able or that I find out that's going on. I crash it in. When I first started my job in education, I was not aware of what my position was. And so I was constantly crushing other people's meetings. And so I was known as the meeting crusher because I would be stuck in a meeting that I was not invited to. And I had no idea what they were talking about, but I was just like diligently taking notes. So that's, so crushing meetings is not new to me. So if I hear that there's a board meeting, like with any city and because right now they're all online, but they're not well advertised. And so then when I find out that there's a board meeting, I go in, they usually give you about 3 minutes to speak. That's all I need. And so then I put in my card, I present the program, and I give it, because like I told God in the beginning, is like, I want someone to take it from me, but if they're not going to take it, then it's my job to go and present it.
All
It's
right.
what.
Listen. Okay. So let's do this. Okay. We have three. We still have a few minutes left before 30 minutes left on the interview. Give me your 3-minute pitch that you give when you crash these parties, because listen, fortune favors the bold, and
Yes.
the way you think to do what you do is amazing. Now people know you as somebody that's that way. Can you do
Yes,
that for us right now? That 3-minute, what you
definitely.
would say? Okay, here, ready, go.
Okay. Hi, thank you for allowing me the time to speak with you today. My name is Dr. Reyna. And because of coronavirus, we have been forced to do long distance learning. Our children and our teachers are struggling to engage across the street. We have come up with a program that will ignite the passion in all our teachers by presenting to them 3 different techniques, including breathing exercises, movement, and the use of visual aids. Imagine that you, as the administrator, go on a camping trip. It's getting dark and it's getting cold. You send your teachers to get the wood. You send your other staff to make a fire pit. The fire pit is built. The teachers brought the wood, but there's no fire. And they're looking at you for a solution. We are Ignite. We can help you ignite the passion in your teachers and build that fire.
Yay! That's awesome. That's so cool. That is really cool that you do that. I love how you put that together. It tells a story and gets your point across. My mentor has this saying that says this: curiosity cured is interest lost. Meaning when you cure someone's curiosity, they lose interest. And now that little story you just said, I could imagine you telling that in front of a bunch of people, them just left wanting to know more.
Yes.
The way you said that story. So it's been a pleasure to have you. Before we go, we'll go ahead and come back and put your website. Go back and you put your website in the comments. But do you have a Facebook community or a group or a page, or is it just your website and your personal Facebook? How can people get a hold of you?
It's Dr. Reyna, just like my name, drreyna.com. All the information is right there. The program, the links to the Facebook group is right there. If you want to know more about what I do, if you want to learn anything else, my main focus right now is Ignite, because it's my passion to ignite the passion in all the teachers. So if you go to drreyna.com, everything is right there. And then
Awesome.
I'll be happy to serve and to collaborate with anybody. If anybody wants to collaborate with me and my passion, if you're passionate about teaching, I know that we talked about having this Passion TV, so we might do that as well. So I am never in lack of ideas. So
Yeah, definitely. I see some future collaboration stuff coming up with both of us, and I want to send a call to action, a blatant call to action to everybody that's watching this video live or in the replay, to reach out to any teachers that you know. You just saw this woman share her story and what she's passionate about. I know for a fact that if there's any teachers out there, they deserve to meet this incredible woman. So please share this video. Let people know that it's here. I'm personally going to go and make a list of some teachers that I know and tag them in this video, because they deserve to know who you are and what you're doing. I support your dreams of what you're doing, because I know you're helping people just like what we're doing with our community. So
thank you.
I really appreciate you coming in. We'll talk to you guys later. Stay tuned for another incredible interview. The challenge is still going, but these interviews are no longer. So if you finish the challenge, you're going to get an interview like this. And I'm glad that you finished the challenge so we can get your message out, Dr. Reyna. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll